This is a story that came out in the Intercept.com, May 14th, 2018. Stop asking what happened before someone started filming police brutality. I agree with that. Number one, that does not negate the violence that's on that video. Okay. And time again, the vast majority of the time when those videos are being filmed, it's showing you an attack on somebody that's unarmed. I could see if you were showing the majority of the videos and the person was committing a crime. This is not what we're seeing. What we are seeing is people being approached and then being bullied. And then the next thing you know, they are on the ground being murdered or beaten badly by police. Ladies and gentlemen, they're asking that question because they're trying to figure out a way to make everything that you're seeing on the video irrelevant. And there's no way of doing that when there's a violent act on there. But they are stupid to believe that. Black people don't wear body cameras, which maybe we should. Maybe we should. You know, there's all kinds of body cameras you can wear. You know, I even saw one that was a little necklace that you put on and it looked just like jewelry, but it was actually a body camera. Maybe we need to start wearing them 24 hours a day. We probably should, but we aren't filming 360 degrees of our lives 24/7. So when everyday Black man, woman, boy, or girl ends up being confronted with racism or bigotry or police brutality of some kind, it just so happened that the filming tends to start when the horror is already well underway. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what it's going to take for our people to separate. You do not have to spend your entire existence around white people. I know they're trying desperately to get us to believe this, but it simply ain't true. In fact, I go days sometimes before I even encounter a white person. So don't tell me it can't be done. It can. I mean, and even if you live in a predominantly white neighborhood, you don't know how to keep to yourself. That's what you got to do. It is getting to the point where it's not even worth interacting with white people anymore. Look at all the things that's happening. Maybe we should start asking ourselves, is it even worth interacting with these people? I don't think it is. We're not getting anything of value out of this crazy relationship with them because it's not a normal relationship. It's probably the most psychotic interaction that we're having on a regular basis. There's nothing normal about this shit, and it's not going to get normal. So they think they found the perfect loophole whenever racism or brutality happens by asking the question, well, what happened before it was being filmed? That's irrelevant, ladies and gentlemen. It does not negate the racism. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pose this question as if everything that you're seeing is irrelevant because we don't know what happened in the beginning, and that's bullshit. And this is further proof that they don't give a damn about Black folks. You ever see them ask the question, well, is that Black guy all right after he was attacked by the cop? Or I wonder how the family is doing now that, you know, this guy was murdered unarmed by the police. You ever hear these questions from them? And you're not going to. See, this is the kind of question, well, what happened before before the film began. See, that's the kind of stuff only a psychotic animal would ask you some mess like that. Show absolutely no concern for the person that was beaten or killed. No concern. And we know this is, nobody walks around, including the people that are sitting in your face making these bogus questions. Well, what happened? Even they don't film every second of their life. They don't do it either. So when a horrible viral video of racism or police brutality makes its rounds online, it's rare that the video starts before the encounter begins. By the time a bystander or the victim has the thought, I should pull out my camera and begin filming this, the ugliness is normally underway. The question itself is rooted in racism. Amen. Well, what happened before the video began? That is racist. When we witness African Americans being brutalized in the most horrific ways imaginable, when we see discrimination of the worst degree, humiliation, or degrading African Americans who just want to live their lives in peace, what happened before someone was forced to consider the need to begin filming an incident really doesn't matter. And ladies and gentlemen, I also want you to know, whenever there's an incident with a white person in the police, they never ever ask that question. They never ask that question. The only time they ask what happened before the video is when it's Black people only. They never raise this question with anyone else. And that's how you know it's racist. That's how you know. The question is most often asked because the person asking that particular question wants to believe that the brutality or discrimination was necessary and justified, and it never is. An unarmed person, no, it never is. And they know it. That's why they're trying to find ways to put the blame back on the unarmed person that was posing no threat to the police officer. They're desperately trying to spin this whole thing. This is nothing but typical spinning. And we've seen this for 5 centuries. What I'm telling you is that brutality and racial discrimination are never justified. Amen. And it's not. Just like we're seeing all of the videos of the cops being called for non-criminal, non-violent acts. It's not justified. Those calls they're making to the police, none of them are justified. And they know it. That's why they keep trying to push the blame on the Black person and not the caller. You see, you know why? Because that caller looks just like them. They don't want to blame them, although they are the ones at fault. But see, this society will not put their foot down on these people that are making all of these bogus ass calls to the police. Last Thursday, a video surfaced of a young Black man named Anthony Wall being brutally choked, pushed up against a wall, and nearly lifted off of his feet by an enormous police officer in Warsaw, North Carolina. Wall, 22 years old, and dressed in a prom tux, had just taken his younger sister to her high school prom. They went to a Waffle House afterwards, which a lot of people do. After prom, sometimes you go to another party, or you'll just go to a diner or somewhere close by to get a bite to eat. A lot of people do this. A lot of people do this. When the staff at the Waffle House called the police on Wall, the officer arrived. By the time the filming begins, the officer is just moments away from choking Wall and slamming him to the ground. We know from the arrest that Wall was unarmed and nonviolent. And see, that's why they keep posing this question, because they know they can't justify the behavior of the Black person. They can't, because they're not seeing any violence from the Black person. So they desperately try to spin it. Well, we don't know what happened before. We don't know what happened before. Like they're making some point. They're not making any point, y'all. And the next time they raise that point, just ignore that troll and go on about your business, because they're not raising any point. He was ultimately charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, which are bogus BS charges. He could have really argued with the staff at Waffle House. Having an argument with somebody is not a crime, ladies and gentlemen. Having an argument back and forth with anybody is not a damn crime. If having an argument is a crime, then every goddamn person up in this bitch needs to be arrested. We've all been in arguments. We've all been in disagreements, from childhood all the way through adulthood. Who hasn't? Okay, and if somebody step forward and say they never been in a single argument in their life, I don't believe you. Your ass is a liar. All right, so even if there was an argument there, it still don't justify the officer's action over the argument at all. The same is true for the brutal police assault on Chiquisha Clemons. Yeah, that was the woman. They ripped her top off. 3 white male police officers tore off her top and exposed her breast in front of everybody. All she did was ask for utensils for her food, and they said 50 cents, which is ridiculous. You can go to any restaurant in America and you get utensils for free. And part of me is wondering if they did that on purpose just to get an altercation started, because these folks are notorious for doing that all throughout history. You can even go back to when they burnt down Black towns. They purposely went out of their way to start an altercation or made up a bold-faced lie to get the whole thing kicked off. And we can see this is still happening today. When police got there, she was eventually slammed to the floor, choked, mound, and manhandled in such a way that her blouse came off. They took it off and exposed her breasts. We saw the video. Throughout it all, she was non-violent. Okay? Nothing she did before the video could warrant what she got in return. And I agree with that 1,000%. The same is true for the police officers in Miami who ran up and punt kicked the head of a nonviolent man who was already being arrested and under the control of another officer. That's right, because he ran up and just kicked him in the head. I don't care what happened before the video was being filmed. Nothing warrants such an attack. Damn Skippy, nobody deserves to be kicked in the head while they're on the ground. I agree with that 1,000%. The same is true for the Shreveport, Louisiana police officer who threatened and humiliated a young man after police were called because his music was too loud. What, you don't know how to tell someone to turn their music down? Okay, so white people don't blast music. I know that's a lie because I've seen it way too many times on the road. So y'all don't blast music, just black people do. It's just bad when black people do it. Y'all, we got to get away from these psychotic beings. We got to get away from them. These folks are psychotic. They're psychotic, y'all. There's no getting along with them. The same question, what happened before the filming started, was asked when police were called on two black men at Starbucks last month. It's as if a secret evidence existed that would justify arresting two young black men who were simply waiting to meet a friend. The story did not fully take a turn towards the black men's side of the encounter until several white witnesses came forward to say that they had seen the whole encounter and that the men had done absolutely nothing wrong. And plus, those same white people that were in there also said they didn't buy anything either. Here's what I know. All over this country, when white men, young and old, commit mass shootings, slaughtering dozens and dozens of people, those men are routinely brought in and arrested without incident. The police are able to conduct arrests of the most violent, awful white men without choking or humiliating them, but somehow appear to struggle to provide the same level of human decency to black men, women, and children who are unarmed and non-violent. That is because they don't want to do it. You got to understand, these folks know how to be police officers, but when they come around us, they don't care what their conduct is with black people. And you can see this from the slave catching days all the way up to present day, modern Jim Crow slave catching times like we are in right now. Nothing has changed. Their attitude towards black people, back when the slave patrol was put together, is exactly the same attitudes that you're seeing today. There is no justifying shooting or beating an unarmed, non-violent person. There is no excuse. No excuse. Nothing that they're saying to you makes the violence or the killing justified. And they're desperately trying to get around this, and there's no getting around it. I'm going to say this again. You have got to stop going around these people, especially when you don't have to be around them. I am fine with the fact that they don't want me in their stores. I can shop online. And there's a lot of black merchants online. Some of you had wrote, well, you still going to be buying white. Not necessarily. Look for the black merchants online. I mean, those of you that make those statements, how many of you have tried to look for black people online with their own websites and they're selling products? How many of you have even tried? Some of you are not even trying and you're coming in the comment section with that nonsense. At least try. Just looking at all the bogus phone calls to the police and all of this unjustified beating and killing of unarmed, nonviolent black people, I'm going to make it my mission to shop more online, find black merchants, and spread the word about who these Black merchants are that you can also buy from. We got to stop going where we're not wanted. If they don't want our money, I say don't give it to them. My money looks good in my wallet. That's the way I see it. It looks damn good in my wallet. Get yourself a garden, ladies and gentlemen. That way you can feed yourself. Number 2, if you have the talent of knowing how to make your own soap, make your own toothpaste, make your own deodorant, we need to get back to that stuff anyway. This garbage these folks sell anyway is nothing but cancerous, and it's no good health-wise for you anyway. A lot of this stuff they sell is bad for you anyway. We need to go back to the natural things that our people did before this society even existed. A lot of our people made their own products. We need to get back to making our own lotions, our own facial creams, using organic products, using products that are not harmful, non-fluoride toothpaste. You know, there's a lot of things you can pull up online that will show you how to make your own. What's wrong with making your own? At least you know what's in it. With this garbage these stores are selling you on the shelf, it's got so much garbage in there, it's causing you to have all kinds of health problems anyway. Their stuff is complete shit. They're not selling you no good quality stuff. They're selling you processed food with all kinds of unnecessary ingredients in there. They're selling you all kinds of food with unnecessarily pork and all kinds of shit they sneaking into the products. And plus, nobody's cooking is better than ours. You don't have to eat that bland ass shit they sell in these restaurants. Shit don't taste like nothing anyway. You don't need their stuff as badly as you think. That's what I'm trying to get through to you. And if they don't want us around, then don't go around white folks. When you're on your time, keep to yourself. You go to work, you do whatever you have to do your business transitions. But when all that shit is over, keep to yourself. And all of this is eventually going to cause Black people to completely disconnect from white folks. And then when that happens, they'll be screaming and hollering that that's racist. So if I'm in a situation where I can't win, then I will lose my way then. And if I got to lose from disconnecting from you, then so be it. When is it going to be enough, Black people? It's enough for me. It's beyond enough. It was enough for me years ago. I'm already there. But what's up with the rest of you? They're not our lifeline. They're not. There is no salvation through these people. You can live without them. We are the first people on this earth. How could we not have lived without them when this planet was once a Black planet?
Watch out. Watching the news from Weather Channel got a severe thunderstorm.
And my goodness, y'all. When is it going to be enough? When is it going to be enough? Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. Like the video, share the video. And if you can support my channel, please do. I'd rather have your support than anything from them. Your support is more important than anything for my brothers and sisters. Peace, family.